All right, so hey everyone, I'm Rodrigo Flores, and this is.
Hey, I'm Chad Barcelo. I'm from the Philippines. I'm a former aircraft mechanic. So I want to come and do coding, and I'm lucky enough to get into Ironhack.
And I'm Rodrigo Flores. I'm a criminal and immigration defense attorney. I've been one for the past 3 years. I do a lot of refugee work, so I deal with a lot of battered women, people who are facing asylum in their country. And while it's a good profession, I don't necessarily like being in detention centers all day. I kind of want to change the scenery and sort of maybe something less intense, maybe gear back to some more consulting rather than litigation. So our game that we made is humans versus orcs, and I'll pass it to Chad.
So I played a lot of RPG games back in the day, and my first game was Final Fantasy Tactics. So I'm basing my choices on nostalgia, and
Yeah, I used to play a lot. Back in when I was in middle school, there was this German game that was an online one that had a lot of little pixelated sprites. And when we were talking about it, I realized how much we shared, a lot of the same game types. So we decided we'd try our hand at it, see what happens. So our game from the beginning was supposed to be kind of this top-down, turn-based game where you'd be able to select units and kind of move them around. Given the time restraint, we couldn't implement everything we wanted to. But essentially, they're on a battlefield already, and they basically fight with each other. So let's show you what we have so far. Do you want to set it up, and I'll explain what's happening? So this is our game right now. We didn't use Canvas to make everything, so everything you're seeing is kind of run through this little map generator function. We were able to kind of draw out sort of everything before it happens, and as you see, it'll kind of display the combat as it's happening and keep track of the statuses. When an instance, I guess, of a character dies, we kind of their body gets replaced with a little rip, rest in peace tombstone. And it tells you who is attacking who kind of with this green overlay and this red overlay with a sword icon. It's just kind of like a combat simulator at this point. At this stage, there's really not much in terms of interaction. Something we want to kind of do for the future is allow a player to sort of grab a set list of characters to use and kind of drop them in onto this field and be able to interact a little more with that. We already explained this. We kind of, so you want to explain a little bit of this?
okay. So for map generation, we use a 2D array. So basically, we can just assign ones and zeros, and it puts trees, sprites, and everywhere inside the map. But the difficult part is manipulating the sprites while the engine is running.
Yeah, we use kind of CSS classes to toggle on and off to kind of give it the illusion that stuff's happening. I think part of the biggest challenges that we faced really was kind of having these huge ideas and not really scaling them down to what we could do given the time constraints. We tried to kind of implement this random generator at the beginning too, so that every game instance would be different, and that way it would be a little bit more exciting at the time. We had some problems with that.
And we appreciate people who make games for a living, because there's no, the level of planning is, you can't just imagine. And then people complain about it when they just when they jump and then they get into a glitch and then they have no idea how that happens.
Sort of for the future, as mentioned previously, we'd really like to kind of find a way to sort of set up the system where we could actually drop things onto the map. Probably make the animations a little bit better. Sort of, I guess, what's lacking would be sort of more user interactivity with the game, but Chad and I are going to keep working on it.
Yeah. Plus, our skill level is really low right now, so I'm trying to improve that, and then I probably could make better games in the future.
Yeah. So that's our project. Thank you, guys.